Hi, welcome to Yoga Illumined Ayurveda. My name is Sumukhi or Kristina Lanuza, and this is Kerry Meath-Sinkin. We're going to talk to you a little bit about tips for the fall season, things that you can do to help you feel better in the autumn.
And this is big because the more we flow with the seasons, the more connected we are with nature, the more our bodies stay balanced and flow in harmony throughout the year. That means fewer illnesses and just a more general sense of vibrance as we move through the year.
I think about fall, and it's like kind of the time where a lot of people get colds. I've been talking to folks on the phone, and there seems to be a lot of like stuffy noses and overall kind of yucky feeling. So it's an interesting transition from summer to fall.
It is, and anytime we transition through seasons, illnesses can come up. And certainly in Austin and San Antonio here, we do have a lot of seasonal allergies that creep into the picture as well. Generally, when we think about fall, we think about the air getting cooler. So that's when we want to pull out the jackets. We generally feel a little colder. The air gets drier, so we notice that leaves start to fall, more wind starts to move. And then those subtle and mobile qualities can also sneak their way in. We think of fall as being characterized by an imbalance in Vata dosha. So for those who know the doshas, we think of Vata increasing, which means that if we're someone who has a tendency to feel more anxious, feel more spacey, feel maybe constipated, get that dry skin, then we want to be extra good about nourishing and lubricating ourselves in the fall season.
So that's a very interesting point. I think that a lot of times we don't necessarily think of the fall as very drying, but it is, and that can cause a lot of these imbalances. So talk to us a little bit about the qualities of the fall season.
So qualities, like I mentioned, we have a sense of lightness come into the picture. We have mobility, so that means lots of movement happening. That can be in our physical bodies or in our mind. So we might feel more scattered, our memory might not be quite as good. We might, in our physical bodies, feel colder because of that cold temperature starting to increase. And with the dryness, again, we might feel that constipation or that dry skin coming on. And again, these are pretty minor imbalances, but they're still things that affect us. It can lead us to not feel as good as we move into the fall season. So that leads to, like I said, anxiety, maybe being more fatigued, being more constipated.
So what are things that we can do to help us in the fall season?
So there's a few different categories we'll cover today, and of course, I could go on for an hour or two about everything that we could do, but in a nutshell, we can make some dietary changes. So really look at food and how we're using food to bring our bodies into balance. We can look at oil massage, and we can look at some other lifestyle techniques.
And so what are some of these foods? I'd love to put that in my diet, and I'm sure all of you would as well.
Yeah, and it's easy. Let's think about what's local during the fall season and what is seasonal. And often in most areas for us, it's sweet potatoes, pumpkins, squash, things that naturally, literally grow in the earth. So if we cook those with some nice warming spices like cinnamon, cumin, coriander, things that are going to warm them up a little bit, and have those, they're going to be really nourishing and very grounding for our system. Some other things include apples. So if we know apples are everywhere right now. And for those who do have that tendency towards constipation, cooking those, sauteing them, instead of just having them raw, can be a really nice way for them to be juicier and more digestible in our system. And here we also have some greens that are in season. So we have those beet greens. Even the other day I got some kale at the farmer's market. But instead of putting those in that raw salad, we want to saute those up maybe with a little bit of garlic or some other nice warming spices and some good oils so that they become, more easy to digest and well spiced moving into our bodies. Some other things we can use is spices. So not necessarily spicy, but using spices as medicine. So the cinnamons, the gingers, the cumin, coriander, things that are going to warm us up a little bit.
So all of those, cumin, coriander, they warm the body.
They do. Cumin and coriander are a little more neutral, but certainly we can think about cinnamon, ginger, a little bit of garlic, a little onion, which can sometimes be too stimulating, but in moderation can help warm up the system. Even thinking about warm liquids, so getting those warm stews in, that nice mulled cider, having warm nut milks or warm dairy milks with a little spice can also be a really nice way to bring some more nourishment into the system.
Fantastic. So aside from food, what can we do? What else can we do as far as our lifestyle to help us in the fall?
And so a big thing for me that I like to emphasize in the fall is that oil massage or Abhyanga, because that is so good at lubricating the system, so good at warming us up. So making sure that the oil we put on us is warm. So warming it a little bit, and sesame in particular is a warming oil and it's energetic. So when that's also warmed up, it's nice and warming to the system. So leaving that on in a warm bathroom is awesome for grounding and lubricating the body. We also want to pay even more attention to our breath. Our breath is always important, but we might notice that our breath is more up here. We get a little more shallow in the fall time.
Okay.
And so doing our best to really breathe deeply, no matter what we're doing, can really help us get back into that parasympathetic nervous system, which can be a really nice, nourishing thing. Some other things we can keep in mind is just being a little bit easier on ourselves. If that memory is a little bit, poor, or we feel more scattered, allowing ourselves to get any extra rest. Again, slowing down. I know I say that a lot, but I just think so many of us do too much and move too much. And if any season to be aware of that, I think the fall is particularly important.
That's good to know. It's definitely something, I didn't even think about the breath. And, the pranayama and breathing exercises are so powerful. So just having that consciousness that maybe it is a lot more shallow in the fall can help you bring slower, deeper breathing down into your lower back. That's
exactly, and into all areas. And of course, we know the breath's always important, but really just getting those full breaths, doing alternate nostril breathing, doing things that are going to be really balancing to the system. And then finally with lifestyle, we want to think of sleep. So making sure that we are allowing our bodies to rest and get as much of the grounding energy in through our sleep.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
We hope that these fall tips will help you out and keep you healthy and happy through the seasons.
Thanks.